Will Thor 4 introduce the symbiotes into the MCU?
No way. No way.
I honestly want them to, but I don't think they will because of Sony and Venom movie and other things. But that's the conversation for later in the episode, as we're going to start this episode talking about what we said we would. Before we even start, welcome back after that kind of 4th of July surprise break that we took. We kind of weren't expecting to take a full week off, but we had pushed it all the way to recording on Wednesday and releasing it on Thursday. And then I had something that came up on Wednesday that caused me to not record. And at that point, we would have been releasing it like 3 days before our a regular release date of Monday. So we were like, you know what? Let's not try to rush 2 episodes in the same week. And those 2 episodes probably would have been on the same things at that point when we were recording.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
We just said, you know what? Take a break this week, not worry about I just guess recording this podcast, and we'll come back to it. And so we are back to it. And so we are up to episode 5 of Miss Marvel. We've only got I'm pretty sure 1 left. Most shows are 6. I believe Miss Marvel is also 6. And I've had a lot of fun watching it.
See, I
really have.
I thought Miss Marvel would be 8 because it's 40-minute episodes. Unless it's not going to be a full project.
Half the time they have been like 40 to 50-minute episodes. They're like, they say 6 hours of content, but it's just like they're rounding. They're so hard to rounding that.
Yeah.
If you really take the length of time of the episodes, it's probably 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. It's 6 episodes. I'm just going to go with 6 episodes. I'm
that's
look
my
it up
guess.
right now, actually.
Yeah.
Miss
if only we
Marvel
had the internet.
Episode. Yeah, if only we were recording this on the internet. What's that, though? We don't know. No, I don't care that the episode.
Work? That'll be next episode.
Yeah, actually, that's going to be this episode. How does the internet work? Because we just forgot.
What is the internet and how does it work? The World Wide Web.
What do you do? What happened? It's 6 episodes, so its finale is on the 13th, which is Wednesday. So we'll get to see the full Miss Marvel suit then, because they've already shown it in the promotions for it. Which, look, the one thing that we have definitely noticed, I know I have, is most of these shows, besides 2. So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th live action MCU show. 4 of those 6 generally follow the same idea. And I'm getting tired of it. The only 2 that don't, Loki and Moon Knight, are very individual and very unique. And it's part of the reason they are our 2 favorite MCU shows. And I love Miss Marvel still, and I'm enjoying watching every episode of it. But I am getting tired of Marvel waiting to put the costume, the actual costume of the show, in the last episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, Moon Knight doesn't do it because it's we watched it. You see the suit by the end of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Loki doesn't do it because Loki's a way established character at this point. He doesn't need a costume. He's Loki. His show is off the rails. I still love it, and it's still my favorite. I get Falcon and the Winter Soldier waiting for the Captain America suit to be in the finale. That works for the story.
Yeah.
WandaVision, kind of, because you can say it's the Scarlet Witch suit, so she's waiting until, and then she fully becomes the Scarlet Witch at the end of that show, so you get the true Scarlet Witch suit. Hawkeye, they wrote it in for him to not have the costume and to make it a big part of his character of him saying, I'm not a role model for anyone, and him feeling like he's still an awful person, which I get, but I don't know. I want to see the suits. Miss Marvel, I feel like there's no reason for her to wait for the suit for the 6th episode when they've literally been advertising the show with the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Hawkeye. They advertised the show with the suit. Part of it was in the advertising for it. Like they hid the Captain America suit for Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they hid the Scarlet Witch suit for WandaVision. Mostly, they gave hints to it in WandaVision. I know that because there was like the TV screenshot that showed like part of it. But I just like I want to see it. We already have her mask. Like she got her mask from Bruno in the 2nd or 3rd episode. I don't remember which, but one of those two. She literally used her powers from the 1st episode. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I would like for her to have her suit because it doesn't feel like the suit is going to be part of the story. Like the Captain America suit and taking on the Captain America mantle was a huge part of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The costume of the Scarlet Witch was part of Wanda's character. I guess you can even say the Hawkeye costume was part of him accepting the fact that, okay, maybe I am a hero, even if I've done terrible things in my past. But this is like, she's ready to be a superhero. She wants to be a superhero. This is about her family, not herself. That's what this show is really about. It's about her and her relation to her family, more so than... Why? What is that?
Bug.
For anyone who's watching the YouTube video who will have seen Bug, Chris is a bug major in college. Chris is Bug Boy.
Well, why are you... I mean... Oh, I thought you were going to tell anyone watching us on YouTube Chris is holding a bug right now. I was like, yeah, they can see that. Anyway.
No, anyone who saw the bug, Chris is a bug major in college. So Chris is about to be distracted.
Antennae.
Chris is about to be distracted for the next 5 minutes to classify this bug while I continue talking about Miss Marvel.
Yeah, you can keep going. I don't really have much to say about Miss Marvel. Like, in the beginning, I thought it was just like it was a fun little show, keep me occupied. It just seems like they're trying to do too much with it, and they're going too deep and back in time, and it's just I'm not willing to put in this much effort for the show, for Loki, for the Winter Soldier, for WandaVision. Like I was willing to put in the effort to like wrap my head around everything. Miss Marvel, I'm just not there yet.
Which is fair. I mean, obviously, the show is a bit of a different orientation. Can you stop, Chris? Bug. What is it? Like, what do you know what bug it is?
Some kind of beetle.
Cool. Beetle boy.
Beetle.
Blue Beetle? DC's Blue Beetle?
I was going to say maybe it's a radioactive beetle.
Maybe it's a radioactive
Beetle boy.
Chris will be the Beetle Boy. New Amazon Prime show directed by Dark.
I just tried to throw it across the room and it didn't even... All right. What were you saying?
It's a bit Miss Marvel's a bit oriented differently. I feel like it is still oriented for younger people, more like that young adult, like that whole time when Hunger Games and Divergent, all of those were coming out, and they're all like meant for like more of those 13, 14-year-olds.
Yeah, it's a coming of age story. So
yeah, it is. It really is, and it's been pushing towards that. And I don't hate it, but I will. Yes, I do agree. I'm not as willing to put as much effort to like go deep and like focus on it. Like I'm not going to be honest. I am going to be honest. I don't know why I said I'm not going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I haven't like dedicatedly stared at each episode. Moon Knight, we watched some of those episodes twice before recording. We're not doing that here. I'm watching it on Wednesday when it comes out with my girlfriend because she loves it and she thinks it's really fun. And I mean, I do too. And kind of just talking about it here. I am confused with the family relation and with her relation to the clandestines. Or they say in the show, they say clandestine in the show, but that might be an accent thing. The clandestine, because that's easier for me to say because I'll have to stop and like intentionally say clandestine. The clandestines, because as you were explaining this to me too before, the Bengal is her great grandmother's Aisha, because we see Aisha in episode 5. And apparently Aisha is the one that Miss Marvel's mom said that they don't talk about because she's like dishonored the family or something along those lines. And then we're seeing this clandestine woman who I'm blanking on her name now. She looks like she's really old though. She's like kind of creepy looking, not gonna lie.
Yeah, she is, dude. She kind of looks like a skeleton.
Yeah. And we're seeing her, but she has some relation to Miss Marvel too, in knowing that they're, or I guess, well, because she was looking for Aisha, so Aisha was a clandestine as well. So that's how Miss Marvel is a clandestine, and I guess that older woman that is also a clandestine is not related to Miss Marvel. She's just another clandestine. I mean, we've seen multiple of them at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get why Aisha was the disgrace to the family or something.
Yeah, I'm not really...
Or like dishonored the family.
Not really sure.
Exactly.
Is it because like... You know how, like, she was like, oh, like, you get on the train.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, blah, blah. Maybe they're saying like, oh, you know, she's disgraced because she abandoned her daughter and her family.
I mean, that's always possible.
That's all I got. Yes,
that's the only thing I'm not really following. And episode 5, because somehow Iman Vellani, not Kamala Khan is the character's name. Iman Vellani is the actress. Still great as Kamala Khan, by the way. Kamala Khan has somehow managed to unintentionally time travel using the Bengal, and it turns out that Kamala Khan is the reason that her grandmother made it on the train with her great grandfather.
Yeah,
I think they both went on the train. They both made it on the train because Kamala Khan led her grandma back to her great grandfather. I think this is like the 40s or so. To get on the train to get to Pakistan. Or to leave, or to get to Pakistan, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was the 40s when India and Pakistan gained independence from Britain.
Yeah, so that happens, and so somehow Kamala Khan time traveled and was the reason that her grandmother made it to the train.
So my question is, when is the TVA showing up?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't know if the TVA... Well, the TVA still exists, but we don't know what kind of state they're in. Are they, like, doing the same things? Exactly. When does the TVA show up? Here's a good question. Who does the TVA take? Does the TVA take the grandmother for being a variant, or do they take Kamala for creating a variant?
Interesting.
Because that's what Loki argued when he said, this isn't my fault, the Avengers time traveled. And they were like, no, the Avengers were always supposed to time travel. You weren't supposed to mess up their time travel. So, was Kamala Khan always supposed to time travel? Maybe that's why the TVA doesn't show up. Where is the TVA in Miss Marvel? I'm angry. This is ruining the continuity of Marvel for me. I'm so upset.
My immersion.
My 30 project plus immersion in this universe is over. Yeah, so time travel is somehow possible with that Bengal. That Bengal can do a lot of things, and I don't like Marvel just having undefined powers in Phase 4 a little bit. Yeah. Shang-Chi as well with the 10 rings, which is funny because these totally seem like they connect to the 10 rings, because in the show we see when they find the bracelet, when they find the bracelet, the 10 rings logo is in the ground, in the room they find it in. So this is connected to I'm assuming the bracelet is somehow connected to the 10 rings. Because as we said, the 10 rings were from, what's the name of that other universe? That like parallel dimension that they fight with the Great Protector and evil demon dragon squid thing in Shang-Chi.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it.
I watched it so long ago now.
Yeah, I haven't seen Shang-Chi since I think I watched it on Disney Plus in November.
Yeah, it was
But
something like that for me. It was so
yeah,
long ago
hold on,
now.
I'm looking up the name.
Um, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they were similar.
Talo. That's the other universe. So the Ten Rings are from Talo, I believe. That's what they make it seem like in Shang-Chi, that the Ten Rings are from Talo, or they're from a different dimension entirely. But it seems like this bracelet has some connection to the Ten Rings, as in the Ten Rings, the physical Ten Rings, as well as some connection to the Ten Rings organization, which, as we know, up until the current time of 2023, was being run by Wenwu, or the true Mandarin.
According to the MCU wiki, the Ten Rings are of unknown ancient origin.
So unknown, meaning they're not from Talo.
At least not that I know. I think it could be. Those could definitely, they could definitely be from like the same place because it's both. They're both like that, like ancient kind of undefined powers, and like they stick with the user. They go on the wrists. Like I don't know, they're just very similar to me. And if you remember, there's that post credit scene in Shang-Chi where you've got Captain Marvel
And Hulk.
and
I was about
Bruce
to mention
Banner,
that.
where they're like, "Oh, I don't know where it's from. Do you recognize it? Well, I'll run some tests, whatever, on the Ten Rings." And
And they're sending a signal.
oh right, I forgot about that part.
The Ten Rings are sending a signal out to something somewhere in some dimension.
So
That
yeah, it's probably the dimension that like the clandestines like want to get home to.
but what I'm thinking about though, the bracelet that Miss Marvel uses, it's unlocked the powers inside of her, but her powers are to create hard light. That's, I think, what they said, is she's essentially creating hard light with her constructs, which, I'm sorry, that's the Green Lantern powers. Just they're way less defined because the Green Lanterns make hard light constructs and they fully build like robots and machine guns and stuff. All she's doing is creating walls and steps and stuff. But I so she's creating hard light, and the clandestine are from the Noor dimension. They're trying to get back to the Noor dimension. I don't know if they're from the Noor dimension.
I think so because don't they say like we it's time for us to go home, something like that.
You're right.
She's gonna help us get home.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, the notable inhabitants, clandestine, formerly.
Hmm.
So they have the Noor dimension, which is the light dimension, and she's creating hard light. So I feel like she would be connected to that, or that the bracelet unlocking her light powers would be connected to the Noor dimension. But I honestly, I don't know. They could be from a different place, but they do. Some people have pointed out they look kind of similar to the Ten Rings, being that her bracelet has like two purple rings on the end that like look similar to when Wenwu was using the Ten Rings and they were purple.
Yeah, like there's a lot of similarities, so it wouldn't surprise me. I think that would be a nice tie-in.
They're very clearly connecting the two. Like they very clearly, it wasn't like the Ten Rings was in the background. There was a lingering shot of the Ten Rings organization on like symbol on the floor. So they're very clearly drawing the connections between the two. So I'm, they could be setting up something pretty big with these. I don't know what, because the Noor dimension is completely unique to the MCU. It is not at all in the comics. What the Ten Rings are in the MCU is completely unique from the Ten Rings in the comics. So where they're going with this is, we don't know. Like, there's not really a way to predict this because it's so different from the comics right now. I mean, Miss Marvel's an entirely different character. Shang-Chi, or not entirely different character, entirely different set of powers. Shang-Chi, again, is a very different set of powers for the MCU versions. So, I don't know. I think these characters are working in the MCU, which is great. I was interested to see what where the bracelet is from, because I was expecting it to be, there's the Kree power bands. I think that's what they're called. I was expecting it to be that because it would connect her closer to Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
The Kree Nega bands is what they're called.
Right.
Right. Awful word choice. I don't know why they needed to do that and put us in this position. They would connect Miss Marvel better to Captain Marvel because she's a huge Captain Marvel fan. You know, she loves Captain Marvel, so why not connect them closer? But I guess not. They're making her a clandestine and a djinn, and as well, the clandestine are what their religion calls djinn. I don't know. Interesting. Pretty cool. We didn't go through any news that came out the past week, but I don't know.
I mean,
I don't feel like Thor. I don't feel like looking back in the past 2 weeks, but the biggest thing is Thor. Thor is coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thor is coming out. I am seeing it tomorrow night as of us recording this. As of this episode coming out, I will be seeing it the night after this episode comes out. So I'm so excited to watch this. I'm hearing a lot of really good things about it. I'm hearing that it has an amazing music choice, which I'm already so excited because they have based every trailer around Sweet Child of Mine. I am so excited for the fight scene with Sweet Child of Mine in the background because that's exactly what they did in Thor Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. They based like all of the trailers on Immigrant Song, and then when Thor goes full Thor Force God mode after Hela takes his eye out, awesome they strike the lightning onto the tower, and then he jumps down, lightning flowing off of him, playing Immigrant Song in the background, and it's amazing. So I'm so excited for the Sweet Child of Mine fight, or whatever scene Sweet Child of Mine is in, and any other song they put, because Taika Waititi and James Gunn have always do such a good job with the music choices for what the shows and movies they make. Peacemaker is an amazing example of that. I love Peacemaker. I will continue to praise how fun that show was and how much fun I had watching it, and how that is one of the best things that DC has done. The Suicide Squad, as in the Suicide Squad, not 2016 Suicide Squad, the 2021 The Suicide Squad, made by James Gunn, as well as the Peacemaker TV show. Those two are amazing because they're so fun to watch. They don't take themselves seriously. They just have fun. They're just fun movies. They are so enjoyable to watch, and I love watching them. And the music is a huge part of it, and using recognizable music and not just these swelling instruments and orchestras. Using music that people know always makes a scene more fun. If it's used right, throw that asterisk in there, if it's used right. But when you use music that people want to hear, it is so much more fun to watch a scene. I actually remember, because Thor Ragnarok came out 6 months before Infinity War. As soon as I finished watching Infinity War, maybe a week or two later, my first thought was, it would have been so cool if he showed up to Immigrant Song. And a week or two later, someone had already edited that scene, filmed from a theater, but just edited in Immigrant Song when he landed in Wakanda. So it's Immigrant Song was nearly tied to Thor for those couple of years because of that scene. So music choice is a great thing. James Gunn is kind of the one who really started this for MCU movies with Guardians, and having Guardians Volume 1 and the Volume 1 mixtape that he dropped, which is kind of just the collection of songs in the movie, continuing that to Volume 2 and onto Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and Taika Waititi bringing that in Thor Ragnarok and making it more colorful. I think those two have created the best parts of what are these cosmic MCU movies. And so I've heard that Thor 4 is a little rushed as well, but I still think it's going to be great. It's going to be so fun to watch. Because, Taika Waititi seems to bounce a lot off of James Gunn, which is well-deserved, as James Gunn, the one and only, is the magic and brains behind the Scooby-Doo movie, live-action Scooby-Doo movies, which was so funny to find out. Oh my god, there's another one. There's a video game that James Gunn is behind. I forget the name of it, but it's I remember hearing about getting remade now. Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh, I remember seeing like commercials for that game.
I have never played it. It looks so stupid.
It looks horrendous.
But it looks exactly like something that would have come from James Gunn, which is amazing. But yeah,
James Gunn went from Lollipop Chainsaw to doing the same thing, but with John Cena. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Wait, I'm Googling this right now. Is James Gunn
John Cena? No.
No, is James Gunn... Did James Gunn create God Mode Shaggy? Did James Gunn create God Mode Shaggy meme? He did. He had to have. Ultra Instinct Shaggy. He probably did. He's probably the reason it started. And now Shaggy can go God mode in Multiverses, which is a free-to-play game that I actually think I should play, or we should play.
Multiverses?
Purely to play as God mode Shaggy. It's Super Smash Bros, but with like Warner Brothers properties. So like Shaggy and Finn from Adventure Time and Batman and Superman and it's got such a huge roster. It has Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. Who else? It has Steven Universe. Or Steven Universe characters, I think, are in it. Oh, here's the starting roster. Yeah. Arya Stark, Batman, Bugs Bunny, Finn the Human, Garnet, Harley Quinn, Jake the Dog, Rain Dog, which I don't know what that's from, Shaggy, Steven Universe, Superman, Tom and Jerry, Wonder Woman. That was the original. I think it's been expanded since then. Oh, yeah. Iron Giant, Taz, Velma have been added. I think those are the only three. Yeah. Velma, for some reason. Oh, it's actually apparently got a ton of really cool references. I've seen this one. Velma, when her glasses fall off in the game, like, everything on the screen becomes blurry. Like, apparently there's a ton of really, really cool references like that. So I don't know. I kind of want to play it just to see those.
Yeah.
But Ultra Instinct Shaggy is a part of the game. Like, they literally put it in game form. So you can play as God Shaggy. Anyway, Thor 4. So I kind of want to like put out there what I think may happen in this film, because I feel like we've talked about this before. We may be repeating ourselves, but since I'm about to watch it tomorrow night, I kind of just want to put on the record my final thoughts of what I think are things that could happen in this movie before I see it, and then kind of can't really say this anymore because I'll know the answers. And same thing with you. This kind of be your final record before you go see it. What do we think is going to happen in Thor 4? It's his midlife crisis. Obviously, we can go like deaths, changes to the MCU, changes to the character. What do we think is going to happen? So I'll let you start. What is one major thing you think will happen?
I think the biggest thing is just Thor is going to retire. Like, I think at the end of the movie, he's just going to be like, all right, I'm done.
I can get behind that. I think he'll go more towards, like, actually taking up the position that Odin had, and Odin was kind of preparing him for.
Mm-hmm. He won't be a warrior.
Yeah, he won't be fighting anymore. He won't be the warrior. He's kind of passing that to the mighty Thor, Jane Foster. And I think he'll kind of take on that Odin. I think that's really what this is doing for him. I think this is supposed to be this is kind of going to be his midlife crisis of, I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to be a warrior anymore. I don't want to be a kid anymore. Like he kind of just, I guess he grows up. I think this might be the movie where Thor grows up, especially after everything that's happened to him through Endgame, with him losing everyone. I think he's kind of just going to realize, like, I can't mess around anymore. Like, it's time for me to step up. So I can get behind that, definitely. Thor retires. Obviously, not fully retires. He'll probably come back. He'll still fight for the Avengers when he needs to, but he won't be the main Thor anymore.
I mean, I don't know. I think the Avengers is getting a whole new look. I think if and when the Avengers, i.e. an MCU supergroup, get back together, I don't think it's going to be Thor. I think it's going to be the Mighty Thor.
I think the next labeled team will still have some that carry over from the original team. Because I think to replace everyone in it with new characters is a difficult task, because there's going to be absolutely no continuity between the groups. So I feel like someone has to carry over. Obviously, like, you've got Ant-Man is probably going to carry over. He's getting his third film soon. He's not really... I don't really think he's passing his torch anytime soon. Thor, I think, is one who might take a background seat, but would still show up for an Avengers film, maybe. Hulk, I don't know. Like, Hulk and Thor are the two where I'm kind of questionable on, do they come back for another... Will they be in another Avengers film, or will they really be put back to background characters? Which, I mean, Hulk at this point has pretty much already unfortunately been a background character, because there's ups and there's downs in the MCU, and there's the Hulk, who is... I like his Ragnarok story specifically, but the Hulk overall in the MCU is just butchered.
Mm-hmm.
That statement...
It's all over the place.
That statement and this being brought up on the show is for one of my coworkers. I work for Surf City Beach Patrol, Connor. This one's for you. Connor's a huge Hulk fan. I had a nice discussion with him yesterday about how the MCU has totally failed Hulk, because Hulk in the comics is infinitely strong and is the most powerful Marvel character, because he can get infinitely angry and therefore infinitely strong. And like the story where he's on Sakaar and he's fighting is based on... Connor is totally going to correct me for this if I say it wrong, but I think it's a part of the World War Hulk storyline where the Illuminati sends him away because they deem he's too dangerous to be on Earth. I think he ends up on Sakaar, finds his way back, and is so angry that they sent him away, he like levels Manhattan completely. Like earthquake shatters it into multiple pieces. That's the Hulk in the comics. And the Hulk we have now is, not going to lie, he's a bitch. Hulk's a bitch.
I love how in the comics, everybody is so powerful and everything gets destroyed.
Yeah.
But like if that happened in movies, people are like, that's so unrealistic. Whereas people who read the comics are like, this is so cool. Like, you know, like facts. Like the Virgin and Chad meme. It's like Hulk destroying Manhattan. MCU fans, that's so unrealistic. That's so dumb. He killed millions of people. Comic fans, that's sick. Chad, Hulk is so cool.
Chad, comic book fans. Yeah. Yes. I hate that they, like, if you think about it, his story through Endgame starts with his Age of Ultron, where he gets mind controlled by Scarlet Witch and goes in the outburst, and then he chooses to leave, ends up on Sakaar, is really upset, doesn't want to be Banner anymore, becomes Banner anymore, then he won't come out in Infinity War. Like, this whole thing leads to him becoming Professor Hulk, and we don't even get to see him become Professor Hulk. We don't even get to see it. He just shows up 5 years later in Endgame, and he's Professor Hulk. I hate that. I absolutely
He's like, oh yeah, we're good.
So butchered storylines, number one, Hulk. Anyway, now Thor in the MCU is completely distinguishable from the comics. He is not at all the same. And that is something I think some people are obviously going to have a problem with, is he's not very accurate. But I think the take that they have given him in the MCU is still really good, because they haven't, to me, obviously he's hit higher levels in the comics, but I don't feel like they have just made him weaker. I feel like he just hasn't hit those yet, which he may hit in Thor 4. But he's done certain things. He's been the Herald of Galactus. He's done all this stuff. I don't feel like they have made him weak in the MCU. I feel like they have just made the personality of the character different and a lot more fun. And I think that also comes from Chris Hemsworth as a really fun actor. So I really like what they have done with Thor in the MCU. I think he's a great character. His story is great. It's really fun. So Thor 4 is going to be is I hope is going to be still really good. So you think Thor's taking a back seat?
Yeah.
I can agree to that. I think he's going to show up still for an Avengers film. You do not. We'll see how that goes, honestly. I mean, I fully believe it could go either way.
I think the next Avengers film could easily be 4 years off from
We're
now.
not near it. We're not near. I think we could be near an announcement, as Kevin Feige said, in these next couple months, that next big villain is going to be revealed, which I feel like Comic-Con's got to be coming. San Diego Comic-Con is every July. I think that's soon. San Diego Comic-Con.
When is... Isn't
feel
like a Marvel Day or something coming up?
Disney Plus Day.
Disney Plus Day, that's what it is.
Yeah, I always remember... I thought Comic-Con was earlier in July. It's Thursday, July 21st to Sunday, July 24th. And they're done with Phase 4, so they've got to come out and announce Phase 5, and that's really always been something they've done at Comic-Con. So I feel like Comic-Con is going to be our big Marvel announcement. I think we're going to get Phase 5 revealed then. I mean, we'll be done with Phase 4 as of Thor 4. So Phase 4 will be over by the time they're going to announce all of this. Only for a couple weeks at this point. It'll be 3 weeks over, 2 or 3 weeks over. But I think that's where we'll get our announcement. If not, I think it's definitely coming at Disney Plus Day, which, to be fair, Disney Plus Day is only a month and a half after. So It's not too much later. Yeah, so I think Avengers 5 is kind of going to be the end of Phase 5. Like, we still have a whole list of movies to get through before we get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how it plays into being 3 to 4 to 5 years away. Because I think Phase 5 is going to be a much... Obviously, we already know there's so many projects announced. I don't even know how much new stuff will be announced for Phase 5. I think it's more so they're just going to give everything they've already told us about proper release dates in an order. Because we don't have a Blade release date. We don't have a Fantastic Four release date yet. We don't have a bunch of release dates for all the shows like Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars. What else? There's more in there that I'm forgetting. We don't have release dates for any of those. So I feel like it's more so going to be we get a bunch of release dates for those and all these things in that line for Phase 5. And then maybe a couple more movies thrown out there. If we get an X-Men movie announced to be in Phase 5 as well as Avengers 5, that's going to be nuts. But I don't know how they're going to handle their X-Men. But yeah, I think we get 2 or 3 more proper announcements, but we've still got a lot of stuff that needs release dates. And I think that's mostly what the Phase 5 announcement will be, is more so giving these things release dates. But back to, because we've completely left this topic, back to what now something I think that is happening in Thor 4. In terms of deaths, I think I have no clue if Gore dies, but I feel like Gore is going to die. And I think it more so will be Gore kills himself out of, I will refuse to lose to a god because he hates the gods. I think Gore's death is a given. I feel like it's very clear from the trailers, Zeus dies. Zeus is in the movie, Zeus dies. That feels so clear to me because Zeus is such a famous Greek god. Gore is going to kill him to kind of demonstrate Gore's power in a way that everyone knows. Because you can have the Falgar the Behemoth scene where he's dead and it's like, oh my god, he would wrestle black holes for fun. But everybody knows Zeus. Everybody thinks so highly of Zeus, which is fair. Like, he's a cool, really cool guy. He's got lightning powers. I think he's going to die. I think Gore's going to completely axe him. So I think Zeus's death is almost guaranteed. I also think, because that's kind of a very given one, I think this is going to connect a little bit to Moon Knight. I think we will get some references to Moon Knight as well as Black Panther, because we've seen Bast already.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll get references to the Egyptian gods because they're going to. It's like the Divine City or something. That's what it's called. Is where that god meeting is. I can't remember the name. It's got some really cool. Yes, Omnipotence City is what it's called.
Huh.
Omnipotence City. That's what it is, and like the Celestials are there. So I'm interested to see who else Gore kills. But I think Zeus is a guaranteed death, and I think we're gonna see the Moon Knight a little bit of Moon Knight connections. As for what this leads into, though, with like post-credit scenes, I don't know. Maybe we get a Black Panther 2 post-credit scene just because we have nothing for that yet. And we're seeing Bast through the Omnipotent City. We might see something thrown in there for Black Panther 2. Maybe a tease towards Namor, because I think he's coming. Apparently, there's an actor who's had to like recently learn like an Aztec language for a film. I forget his name. And I think he's in Black Panther. Actor learns. I can't remember what his name is. I've heard it. It's an actor that has had to learn a more ancient language for a film, and I think he's in Black Panther 2, and so people think he's playing Namor, which, I mean, Namor is Marvel's, like, first X-Men, I believe, that is first shown in the comics. Oh, yes. If you Google him right now, he actually comes up as Namor. If you Google the Black Panther 2 cast, Tenoch Huerta. He literally comes up as Namor when you Google him. Yeah, so he comes up as Namor, so he's probably going to be in it. But I think... Oh, he learned Mayan.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He learned to speak Maya. I think we're going to get some connection to Black Panther 2. I feel like we have to get something because that's the next thing coming out. Maybe this throws something into the Marvels just because it's cosmic. But honestly, I don't know. I don't really know where this connects to other things. And I don't really think they're going to have... Like Doctor Strange, that post-credit scene was a post-credit scene for what would be Strange 3 with Clea. I don't think we'd get a post-credit scene for a Thor 5. That doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're getting a Thor 5, if I'm going to be honest. I think we'd get the Mighty Thor. But at the same time, like, they're continuing the Captain America series as Captain America 4 is being made with Sam Wilson as Captain America. So maybe they could make a Thor 5 and it's literally just going to be the Mighty Thor as the main character. So, but I don't think we'd get anything leaning towards that sequel yet. So that's a couple things that
I
happen.
think at
I made you yawn.
You made me yawn
in the middle of the recording.
What was I going to say? I mean, I think it would be cool if we got like a Gore. I mean, not Gore, Core post-credit scene.
Core?
Yeah. Isn't that the Rock buddy?
Korg.
That's what I said.
Korg.
Yeah, definitely.
Korg, man. No, Korg. The G.
I think it'd be funny.
Like,
I think he would do well in a series.
I think he would do great
in a Disney Plus series.
Oh, you know who's rumored? We might get a post-credit scene for this. Apparently, Valkyrie might be getting a Disney Plus series.
Right.
I
remember seeing that.
Hearing those rumors too. That might be happening. So, on the streets, yeah. Chris and I walked down the streets of New York City. Like, hey, you know anything about Marvel for us to talk about this week?
No, we don't. We just eavesdrop.
Yeah, actually. So Yeah, I'm standing outside the room right now. Kevin Feige's. Oh my god, why am I yawning so much? Kevin Feige's like literally going on a Marvel retreat to plan the next 10 years of the MCU or something. And we're going to be there too. Chris just yawned again.
Hey.
Hey, yo. I think that Thor 4 is a great movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's going to be great.
One thing I heard was that a lot of the trailer is just like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. I've heard a lot of it is very early into the film.
But I'm fine with that.
I've also heard the trailers have been edited to be very misleading, which is common practice in the MCU at this point.
Mm-hmm.
No Way Home is edited. Endgame's trailers were edited to keep you off the tracks of the plot. So at this point, that's something I expect. It's something you can literally see between trailers, as in the very first trailer at the end when we see the mighty Thor. This is in the fight that is at New Asgard. Mighty Thor gets the hammer and it turns to Thor and he's wearing kind of like that fur coat thing.
Oh, right.
And then in the more recent trailers, that same scene, Thor is now wearing the blue and gold armor, which I'm sorry, I think he looks so dumb in the blue and gold helmet. I think it looks really awful in the trailers. I don't hate the suit. I don't love the suit. I think every other Thor suit we have seen pretty much is better than this blue and gold suit, because I feel like it is one of those suits that has hit the point of being over-designed. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to feel very mystical, but I think it's stepping past mystical to just over-designed. So I don't love the blue and gold suit. I don't hate the colors. I think the colors are fine, and I think they look pretty good. I just think it's over-designed.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's in two different suits in the same scene. So you can very clearly tell the trailers are edited in whatever way. Apparently someone made, according to my friend Shane, who's very into this stuff like we are, I take anything Shane says with a grain of salt, because Shane loves to say things to me about Marvel because he likes to see me react to it when he says it. But he says someone dies in it and I'm not going to like it. He made it seem like Thor dies, but I highly, highly doubt Thor dies, since this is such a midlife crisis movie. It's very clear that it very clearly does not feel like an ending movie for him.
Yeah.
And also would be
not
annoying.
An ending movie as in like a death movie, but it's an ending movie as in like end of his journey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a midlife to ending for this journey. More so than it is a death movie. I also think it would be really annoying because it's so obvious that they're, oh my god, dude, I need to stop yawning. It's really obvious that they're going to be filtering him out for Jane Foster. Mm-hmm. Again, we can tell that. It would be really annoying if they are bringing in a new character to kill him, because I don't want that I feel like that's too obvious and I don't like it. And he's a character I feel like is not at the point of death yet. Him, Peter Parker, Bruce Banner are all not at the point of death yet. So, as in the point where I'd be okay with them dying. And now, in Thor 4, they may bring a story around to a point where I finish watching it and he does die. And I'm like, okay, that's a good story. That's a good conclusion to his story over all these years. That's a reasonable death. That is a fitting death for Thor. That may happen in this movie. I just don't think it will. So, there you go. I think that's really it to talk about going for this episode. Not a whole lot. Miss Marvel's still not over yet, so I don't know. I'm still wondering where that's going, and I'm kind of confused, and I'm kind of more so just waiting for that one to end just to see where it goes. But
yeah, Miss Marvel, I'm waiting for the finale out of curiosity, not necessarily anticipation.
Yeah, I gotcha. That's another thing I can kind of get behind. It's more so out of curiosity for where this, I'm more curious about the actual bracelets backstory than I am about how the show ends. So there's that. But yeah, there's really, I mean, this is kind of the last week, before the end of August, where we've really got, something to talk about each week. So after next week, where we talk about Miss Marvel and possibly Thor 4, depending on when you are able to go see it.
Yeah.
After next week is when we might actually get into the outside stories. Start talking about things that aren't being shown yet. Talking about comic book stories. I would still want to talk about how much I think No Way Home is a better... You know what? I think that should be kind of something we talk about. Why No Way Home is a better multiverse movie than Multiverse of Madness. That would be something. Or why Loki is a better multiverse show than Multiverse of Madness. I just dropped that pen. Then I'm
saw that. Yeah.
YouTube saw that. Watch it on YouTube. Watch it on YouTube because you get to see more interesting things that happen in the background. Like Chris's bug about 15 minutes into this episode.
Yep.
Bug boy.
Actually, technically, a beetle is not a bug.
Really?
Yeah, I could get into it, but it's...
Wait, if it's not a bug, what is it?
Well, it's an insect. But not all... So, all bugs are insects, but not all insects are bugs.
I didn't know... I thought bug and insect were just like the same thing.
Nope.
Chris is starting a bug podcast.
Yep.
As of that sentence. Chris is now starting a bug
my God.
podcast.
As if I can manage having...
We're going to make everyone watching
try to
this...
hide that one.
We're going to make everyone watching this fall asleep. We intended this to be released towards like lunch breaks around noon so people could like listen to this.
As if we don't already make them fall asleep.
Ooh. Yeah. We intended this to be released around people's lunch breaks, kind of on Mondays at noon, and we're going to be yawning this whole time, and we're going to make someone just straight up fall asleep on their lunch break, but they're going to yawn so much they just go to bed. Okay. Well, that's a lot. That's all I've got to say. Excited for Thor 4, Miss Marvel. A little bit confused on those family relations, but it's fun. It's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it's all right.
And everyone on YouTube is going to know what that dead silence was, and it's not going to be. We're not going to post it on the Instagram. It's not going to be anywhere. Everyone on the YouTube channel is going to get to see what that awkward silence was because it's the stupidest thing you'll ever see. So go check out our YouTube. We have 3 subscribers right now, so you could be the 4th or the 5th. Just go for it.
I wonder who the 3rd is, because I'm willing to bet the first 2 are me and you. I know one of them is me.
Do you want to hear something crazy? One of them is not me.
Really?
One of them is now me. We're at 4 subscribers. But that means we have 2 subscribers that aren't us. But we also both have girlfriends. But I don't think Danny would have subscribed to the YouTube.
No.
Erin, I know searched it out, so she might be the one that's one of the 3, but I have a feeling Danny did not.
Anyway, Mark, make sure you subscribe, click that bell, smash the like button.
It costs absolutely nothing for you, and all it does is just gives us the pleasure of extra numbers.
It's a win-win.
Because it doesn't make us any money either. So
it's a net positive.
It does nothing for you. It does everything for us.
It's for the economy.
But 0 plus 100 is 100, and that's positive. And that's math. Follow us on our Instagram as well at darkside.deepdive, and follow us on Twitter at dsdeepdive. Go ahead and follow my own personal Twitter if you want to, too, at George Alex Wade.
Oh, really? This is how far we've fallen.
Yeah, we're falling.
We're plugging our own accounts.
We're plugging our own accounts. Because I'm watching Thor 4 tomorrow night, so if you want to see how I feel about that, I will probably start tweeting things as I watch shows.
Oh, George
as
live tweeting?
Thoughts.
George is live tweeting Thor 4?
George is live tweeting Thor 4. Yeah.
Also, let us know if you want George and I to show up to a Minions showing as gentle minions.
Yeah, please let us. Please, if we get our YouTube to 15 subscribers, this is literally 10 people. We have more followers than this on the Instagram.
If
we
10
have 40
out of the 8 billion people on this planet click subscribe
to Dark Side Deep Dive, Chris and I will get ourselves kicked out of a movie theater for dressing as gentle minions to go see Minions: The Rise of Gru. And it's not a joke, because if you guys do it, you'll see it happen. If you guys don't do it, it'll never happen. Or we're totally lying because we might have already done it and we're kind of just trying to get a reason to post the picture. But you guys will never know until you get us to at least 15 subscribers, which is nothing. My Instagram has like 1,300 followers, and we have 40 on the podcast, which just makes me feel so good about myself and my followers, and my follower count on my personal Instagram. But we're not gonna let the numbers get to our heads yet, because we're not full timing this yet. We're not going to let the views get to our head.
All right. We're just going to cut that off so we can get under an hour.
Yeah, pretty much. 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
Oh, well, not if you cut out the 3 minutes that shall not be named or discussed ever again.
So, okay, this is at 57-ish right now. But thank you all for listening to the one and only Dark Side Deep Dive. And we will be letting you guys know what we think about Thor 4, most likely on next week's episode, as well as the end of Miss Marvel. So stay tuned for that, and have a good night.
Dr. Eggman. Eggman